That's pretty route one. You know, they play it out. Dan Burn, got to be one of the biggest left backs ever to play the game. He's going to win that header. Flicked on then by Mopé. Connolly gets himself in behind because he's that sharp. It's a great challenge, actually, Soyuncu.
Moy will take the corner on this near side, the right. And again, you've got Dunk, Duffy and Byrne all waiting inside the penalty area. And it's a wasted corner from Moy because it actually goes behind before it reaches the clutch of bodies at the near post, and it's a goal kick.
I mean, there's not a lot Leicester can do about that. When the free kick's set up from the goalkeeper or one of the centre-backs, Dan Burn can go high up against Justin, and he's going to win that every single time. So it's going to have to be that second ball retrieval from Ndidi and Mendy.
Wasted corner from Moy because and with 28 minutes played, one player we barely mentioned so far is Jamie Vardy.
Has he touched it?
Not inside the penalty area.
I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure he's touched the ball.
He gathered the ball down here on the left, about 2 minutes played, and I think since then he's been a peripheral figure, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. I mean, obviously, you know, the centre backs are going to try and dominate him physically. So if the ball's clipped in towards Jamie Vardy, he's not going to win that. So that's why it's so important that it's played in and crafted in and around James Maddison, and how important he's got to get close to him. He has to be close to him. There's nothing worse as a centre forward to be left alone and turn around and feel as if you haven't got that support when the ball comes up, and defenders can then double up on you.
Vardy has had one touch in the first 28 minutes. Jason Bourne, our football editor, tells me, and he's the man in the know. But that's when he's dangerous, I suppose, because people maybe switch off, and if you give him one chance, he'll score.
He won't be switched off, that's for sure.
Exactly,
he won't be thinking, oh, I've only had one touch. He'll be ready when that opportunity comes about, and if you make one mistake in possession, he'll be on you.
Now Stevens plays it forward for Brighton as we approach the half hour here on TalkSports Game Day, and it's 0-0 here in the sunshine at the King Power Stadium. Soyuncu is challenged by Lamptey on this near side, who lacks stature but certainly doesn't lack a firm challenge, and it's a throw-in for Leicester, which Chilwell will take into Ndidi, dab back towards Chilwell. Iheanacho takes over on this near side. Soyuncu looks to change the point of the attack by finding James Justin on the right, but here is Evans now with a long raking ball down the left-hand side. Chilwell is quick enough to keep the ball in play, delivers the high cross to the far post. Vardy's waiting, and he wins the header. That's his second touch of the game, and it loops harmlessly into the arms of Matt Ryan.
How did he win that header? That was against Dan Burn. He must have got up so early.
Burn's gone down. Another delay here.
He must have been like Jordan. He was just up so early, and I think he must have taken a ride on Burn. And if he gets up, he just gets up early enough, puts his arm on the shoulder, gets a little bit more leverage, and clips Dan Burn on the throat at the same time.
Dan Burn rather ruefully rubs the back of his neck and is back on his feet. And Brighton will try and bring the ball forward again, and they've had the best chance of the game so far. A penalty for Neil Maupay, which was saved by Kasper Schmeichel. And once again, we've seen the first half in Project Restart, which has had its moments, but the pace at times has dropped, and certainly the conditions will have a say in that, because it's probably the warmest day we've had so far since football resumed.
Yeah, I mean, it's sweltering, isn't it? And that always does play a part, but still, you can't take away how much supporters affect players. It's incredible how much supporters affect players. I mean, when you haven't got a crowd that when you take a bad touch, you know, that groans that you hate to hear, or when you cross one into the stand, you know, and you feel every single sets of eyes on you, it is totally different. The intensity just isn't the same when there isn't the supporters there to pass judgment.
And I have to say, as a commentator, it was odd commentating on the penalty save, and there's no reaction at all.
No, exactly.
13 minutes to play in the first half. Here on TalkSports Game Day, it's 0-0. We've spoken about Jamie Vardy. He has scored in his previous 4 games against Brighton, including a penalty in the 2-0 win at the Amex back in November, as Ryan allows a back pass to just drift away from him momentarily, and Vardy was very quickly snapping at his heels, but the Australian clears. Here is Lamptey on this near side, pressurised by Maddison, and now it's boomed forward over the top by Duffy, and it's brought down by Justin, but he's given the ball away to Connolly again. Connolly just has to try and muscle him off, but Justin does well to recover there after the initial error, and now he clears it long downfield, and it's headed out by Lewis Dunk on the far side. Mopai now challenged by Gray, and it will be a throw into Leicester City.
Look vulnerable, don't they, Leicester? Just from a long ball. I mean, that's all that was. That was just a pinged ball from Duffy over the top. Justin again didn't get there quick enough, didn't read it quick enough and deal with it quick enough. And Connolly's really sharp over the first 5 or 10 yards and caused him problems. But that's because the bravery of Brighton in terms of, you know, when they're trying to win the ball back, at times they'll leave 3 or 4 up against, you know, because there'll always be one full back for Leicester that goes, so then they're almost 3 against 3 when they play that long ball.
Maddison runs into Dale Stephens, and now Basuma, pressurised by Vardy, plays it wide to this near side. Lamptey smartly skips away from Maddison and Chilwell, and he was caught late there by Ndidi. And Lee Mason, I think, thought about playing the advantage, but it was a heavy challenge which deserves a yellow card, and receives one for Wilfred Ndidi.
He's been brilliant, hasn't he? He's been absolutely outstanding. He's quick, he's alert, he's read the situation brilliantly on a couple of occasions. Rides a hefty challenge from Ndidi. He already rode 2 challenges before that. Done brilliantly, the young man.
It just shows the depth at Chelsea. Of course, they've got Reece James and Azpilicueta, so they could maybe afford to let him go, but they may regret it in the long term. You never know. Burn challenging on the far side, but losing out to Damari Gray, and it will be another throw-in to Leicester, who of course were scintillating at the start of the season. 35 points in their first 15 games, but only 19 in the most recent 15. But they've been very good against sides in the bottom half of the table, dropping very few points, but they may be slightly fortunate here to still be on level terms at home to a Brighton side who, with a victory tonight, could find themselves 8 points clear of the relegation zone, as Connolly again causing problems, almost wins it back from Mendy, and in the end it was a hurried challenge from Soyuncu. But we talk about Mopai pre-match, but it's Connolly who's been by far the most effective forward so far.
He has, he's been brilliant, and it's almost Vardy-esque in terms of not allowing defenders a second to breathe.
Now Chilwell has given the ball away to Moy. It's Mopai who brings it forward for Leicester, wide to Moy again on this near side. It was a hurried ball up towards the edge of the penalty area. Evans, though, had McAllister all over him, plays it back towards Schmeichel. And Leicester here are not being given a moment to breathe when they have the ball around their own penalty area. Chilwell now tries to play it down the line on this near side, but he's closed down by Moy, and that will be a throw-in to Leicester. Chilwell takes one of the sanitised balls off the cones around the pitch.
I mean, a lot of teams do, when they lose the ball, they then just retreat against Leicester because they don't want to leave that space in behind for Jamie Vardy. But again, Brighton, with the more confidence that they get, they throw more men forward. That's a bad challenge.
Bad challenge by Dale Stephens there. And Nampalys Mendy, and it will be the first yellow card for Brighton. And Stephens can't have any complaints at all for that.
No, that was wild. That was reckless. He gave the ball away. Sorry, it was a misplaced pass. Actually, it wasn't his fault. It actually looked a lot worse than it was. He goes sliding in. There's actually no real contact